Okay, so I think we're back. I think we're live. Let's see what's going on here. And it looks like we do have live chat um, enabled now, which is fantastic. And it looks like the stream is back. So if you are out there, let me know if you can see this. Good morning, Suprise. And let's see if I can see. So, Tyler, Erie, yes, chat is working now. Perfect. So, hopefully, everybody who was here comes back. Peter Christensen, good morning in Denmark. So, we're just going to talk about just a few things. Good morning, Jason from South Central Wisconsin. I do love Wisconsin. Hoping to get up there later this year. So, as the format of this, make sure you ask your questions, anything networking or technology related, really. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know, maybe help you find a place for that. Nick is in the house. Good morning, Nick. So I've got just a couple things to talk about. We'll let some more people filter in, but make sure if you're in here and you can hear me and you can see me and the chat's working, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on this. And good morning to everyone. One of the things that I want to talk about, man, we ran into a weird situation with cell phones, and we actually had someone at the cell phone store wanted to change our plan. We were on a grandfathered plan, and they were less than truthful about what would happen if we changed plans. Turns out our cell phone bill went up because we got a few phones on it. Turns out it went up like $160 to $190 a month. And so I have my son's old, this is an iPhone 12 Plus Max or whatever it is. It's an older phone, but I signed up with Mint Mobile, and I am now going to be testing Mint Mobile to see what the coverage is like, to see if we like it. And there's a good possibility that I'm, going to be making the recommendation to my wife that we switch over to Mint Mobile. So let me know what you think over in the live chat, or if you're seeing this later, down in the comments about Mint Mobile. So I see good things. James, if you've ever worked with us, James has Mint Mobile. He absolutely loves it. And I can't remember if he switched from T-Mobile or AT&T, but I just activated it this morning, and I will tell you the activation process used an eSIM on this phone, and the activation process was so slick. I didn't port a number. I got a new number. For 3 months of service for this line, it was like, after the service fees and everything, it was like $51, $52, something like that. But I downloaded the Mint Mobile app, gave him my cell phone number or my email address, and within 10 minutes I had service active on this iPhone. iPhone is not my daily driver. I'm a Pixel fan, but I have to test it to see before we switch the rest of the phones. So, all right, over to the comments. Steve says, I am on Comcast Business and we use Xfinity Mobile. Been very good. $30 for unlimited. That's a good price. That's a really good price. I like this this model with Mint, right? Because I know exactly what my bill is supposed to be for the amount of phones that we have. And the taxes and fees and everything are built into that. So I can budget accordingly to exactly what each phone is supposed to cost. So during activation and things like that, there's a couple bucks that are added on for some of those service fees. But then it should be like, when this thing comes up in August for renewal, it should just be the $45 for an additional 3 months. And then the more months you buy, the cheaper it gets. The more people we put on it, the cheaper it might get. So good morning, Steve. Thanks for being here. J. Michael Phelps, Gary, Indiana. All is well. Thank you for being here, Mr. Phelps. Iron Fist, good morning. So what else do we have to talk about? If you saw earlier this week, I released a May. I can't believe June starts tomorrow, right? I did release a May 2025 complete Unify setup for a home or a small office. And I did get, somebody told me I did the VLANs wrong. I didn't do those incorrectly. But then the other comment that kind of gained some traction was IP version 6. And somebody was saying that, IP version 6 is used by most places, and where we're at, it's not used by the only ISP here locally that I know is doing IP version 6 out of the gate is Comcast or Xfinity. Said my audio's a little low. Give me just a second here. How's that? That should be better. That might be even better. I'm trying not to get clippy. And I think if I go too much further, I'm going to get clippy. Good morning, Mike. So, how's everybody doing this morning? Are you like me? And I just got a message from somebody that filled out my contact form. And the contact name is YouTubeU, company name blah, whow@boom.com, with a fake phone number, and said, you thought your YouTube channel to kids content. Many content creators do this, which is a mistake. It prevents your subscribers from getting notifications from your channel. And I believe it's also why you're having trouble having a live chat with your live stream. So this person must have saw that original stream and may not be on the new one. If you're out there and you were the one that submitted that form, thanks for the info. Back over to the comments a little bit. All right. And Tyler says, audio sounds perfect. Perfect. Jason, dreading having to go to Chicago for work today. Yeah, the best thing for me about Chicago is coming home. Right, I go and we enjoy the food and do a little shopping, but I always like to get out of Chicago. If we're going to travel and we're going to go somewhere, I prefer St. Louis, but Chicago is also definitely an option. Nick says $32 USD for a major mobile provider with 50 gigs of data here in Australia. And Nick, I'm not sure how your data and everything works there. Is that with taxes and fees? I'm sure the government taxes something, right, for telecommunications there. Is that like a flat $32 fee? All right, so what else do I have in the works? So I need to cut my grass, and then after the grass gets cut, I have a non-pen roof mount that I'm going to use my action cam from. So if you watched the video where I assembled the mini rack that's over here, my Ubiquiti lab, Ubiquiti says it's got about a 3-minute assembly time. And if that's all you're doing, yes, you can absolutely assemble that rack in 3 minutes. But I was explaining things and talking about things, and I had my action cam strapped to my head. I had my DJI mini mic on. And I didn't realize until I was done and editing the video that I had accidentally hit the hyperlapse button. And so that's why that video was so short, because I just put the hyperlapse in and then I put music over top of the hyperlapse. So when I do the non-pen roof mount video, I will make sure it's not in hyperlapse, and so that we get a full video of that. So Steve says, Mint activation was good. I had a stint with him. Xfinity Mobile requires you, I believe, to have an Xfinity or Comcast to get the $30 unlimited. You can go as low as $15 a line, but it's like 1G or 5G. I gotcha. Good morning, Bob Carpenter from the great frozen north. So anyway, so I'm going to do that. And then I have this. Hold on a second. I need to make sure that I have the AI PTZ. This is the industrial from Ubiquiti. This thing weighs 22 pounds. This camera's a monster. It's got a 22 times optical zoom. It's supposed to be able to see further at night. So we're going to set it up here in the office, and I'll do like an intro video on it. Now, if videos like this, I'll have Ubiquiti review it to make sure that I don't say anything incorrect about the product and, you know, all the underpinnings and everything that makes this work. We'll set it up in the office. We'll play with it and protect a little bit. And then I'll do a video about mounting it outside, because you can pole mount this, or you can mount it to a wall, flush to a wall. And then, and I've seen some guys on some Facebook groups talking about it. I do have the AI horn as well. So I was really excited when Ubiquiti sent that over, because we use a lot of access cameras and hook it to a horn speaker so that when you're doing AI detections, you can play certain sounds and things like that. And that's what I plan on doing with this in the video. So I've got probably the non-pen roof mount video. I'm hoping to get that filmed today or tomorrow. We've got some rain in the forecast, and I want to do some fishing and things like that. But I'm hoping to get that done. And then next week I actually have Grandstream's new routers, and it's got a totally new UI, and they are meant for homes, or if you're an ISP or a service provider, to stick them out there. You can manage them. They've got one that has an ATA built into it, so I'm really excited about that. But these videos are all going to be coming very soon. Let me get back to the comments real quick. Nick says 32 USD or 50 Australian includes all taxes and fees. And Australia has a 10% federal government's good and services tax. I can't even tell you how much the taxes are here. We pay a lot of taxes, especially in Illinois. And historically, Illinois has not taxed services, but now it appears that we are out of things besides breathing to tax. And so they have proposed taxing services now in the state of Illinois, and I'm not sure. I'm trying to find a complete list of what they are talking about taxing, but I don't know if professional services like consulting will be in that. So I'm going to have to keep my ear to the tracks on that and figure that out. Let's see. Richard, good morning. He says, I changed ISP provider for my WAN 2 connection on my UDM Pro. When I change the static IP address and hit apply, I get an error saying that the internet address is part of default and it fails. So that's interesting. You'll have to go to my, if you go to the top of my YouTube channel, my email address is in there. You could send me a screenshot of that, Richard, and I could see if I can help you kind of navigate that a little bit. You could fill out the contact form on our website as well, but a screenshot of that would probably be a little better. Let me give you my email address there in the chat. You could just send that over. Bob says, I envision get off my lawn AI triggered sound prompts. So actually, let me tell you why we've been up since before 3 a.m. My wife actually got up before me because I tried to pretend to be asleep and not hear what was going on. But for Mother's Day, we got my wife this really nice bird feeder that's got solar on it, and it's got a camera, and it'll identify the birds, and she's been absolutely loving it. And about a week after she put it up, she got notifications in the middle of the night, and the raccoons were climbing the tree. So now we're going to move it out to the light post and do some things to keep the raccoons from getting in it and the squirrels. But literally the raccoon is sitting in, and this is probably, if I had to guess, somewhere between 12 and 20 pound raccoon sitting on the bird feeder, literally using its hands to scoop the feed into its mouth. And so this raccoon's been coming around now, and it got to where the dogs could see it from inside. And so they started about, I don't know, probably between 2:30 and 2:45 this morning. Finally, at 3:15, I finally got up. But, my wife was very diligent in trying to get the dogs to quiet down. And then at some point we just tapped out and made coffee and did dishes and all of those things. But so I don't know, I'm going to have to look and see what kind of sounds will actually scare raccoons, because this raccoon was actually on our porch and the dogs went right up to it. It hissed a little bit, but it did not act completely afraid. I don't think it was sick, because it was definitely dark outside. If I saw him tinkering around in the daytime, and I would think something was wrong. And this thing was healthy looking, right? Like it had a full coat, didn't look skinny, things like that. So I need to look and see what sounds will scare them away. So I'm actually going to try to use the AI key that's back here. We're going to try to identify specifically a raccoon. Now, in traditional AI camera systems, especially with like Axis, what was the other one? There's another popular brand of camera. They've got some really cool cameras. If somebody puts it in the chat, you can buy them on Amazon. They've got some AI built into them. Even with Blue Iris, with the AI plugins, if you get a raccoon and you're looking for humans only, you can ignore the raccoon, right? You can ignore spiders, snow, leaves, all those things. The AI has transformed the way that we monitor cameras for sure. But if a cat or a raccoon, and I actually have footage, and I actually have thermal IP camera footage of this, if a raccoon goes bipedal, it will detect it as a small human. So as I'm hoping that the AI key, if I can get some footage of the raccoon and try to train this thing, I'm hoping that we can identify the raccoon, and then we can play some sort of noises that will get get the raccoon out of here. If that doesn't work, I do have a live trap, so we can, we can deal with this a couple different ways. So back over to the chat. Languar Monkey, good morning, says, I just finished installing an AI PTZ Pro on a client at their ranch. Well, you have to let us know how that works out. Jason says, Pritzker will tax anything. I can't necessarily disagree with that. For those of you who do pay attention to politics, I'm not going to turn this into a political whatever, but it would appear that the governor of Illinois is going to make a 2028 presidential bid. There's some things going on. And I actually used our Kroger points to get gas yesterday, and got gas for it was 70 cents off a gallon. So it was like $2.65 a gallon or something like that. But what everybody's holding their breath for here in Illinois is July 1st, the state gas tax goes back on. And I haven't read enough to know how much that's going to be per gallon, but it's definitely going to bring our gas prices up. We got some of the highest gas prices around. But all right, Cecil, good morning. Cecil says, are the new Grandstream router models on their website yet? That is a great question. Let me pull up the Grandstream site, and I hope you can all see this. I moved the way the screen was working. There they are. That's the GWN 7062E and the GWN 7062ET. And the only reason I know that it's got a new exciting firmware is because when Grandstream released the video, you get a glimpse of what the firmware looks like on these. So these are going to be Wi-Fi 6 with up to 3 gigs of wireless throughput. The 7062E has 3 gigabit ports. The 7062ET has 2 gigabit ports or 3 gigabit ports and 2 FXS ports, right? So if you're a service provider, you can deploy these very easily. And if you have people that want them to manage them for you, or you're selling them phone service or whatever, you can do that. Now, before people get all up in arms about, well, yeah, we're releasing routers with only 1 gig ports. Well, first of all, you got to think about who these are, who they're targeting with these, right? They're not targeting people who are building home labs and things like that. That's not the target. Of course, they're not going to tell you, no, don't buy it. And here's the other thing. This router, the one without the FXS ports, you're going to be able to get this thing for $49, right? $49 for this router. And then the one with FXS ports, I believe, is $79. Now, I don't know if that's MSRP, but my distributor, that's what they're going to have them for. And my distributor sells to the public as well. You don't have to have a business account with them. So it's going to have built-in VPN, you can put 128 concurrent wireless devices on it. You can also provision it through GDMS. So I am super excited about getting my hands on these and doing videos on these next week as well. And it looks like they're going to support mesh networking, which is absolutely fantastic. Let me see real quick. Let me go back over here. Let me see if I can find that YouTube video that shows the UI. It looks like a completely different UI. Let me see here. Let me see if I can scrub through this video real quick. See if I can find where they show the screenshot of the firmware. Let me go back full screen here. All right, so if you can see this firmware, if this is the firmware, this is definitely different than the GWNs. Here it is right here. So it looks like it could be the standard GWN firmware that we're used to, but look at this. It looks like it's a little bit more polished. You've got an add mesh button up here. Here, of course, you can see it's connected to GDMS. We got our traffic stats. They've got this home care right here. Of course, we got QoS, cloud, and I don't think I got to see the advanced. So under advanced, they've got a lot of settings under advanced. So it looks like it's got intelligent detection. So safety protection, network connectivity. It looks like there's a lot of things that are just a little bit different about this firmware to maybe make it a little bit more friendly. I'm really interested to see what that home care is about. But yeah, here's where they're scrolling through the firmware. Let's see if I can find that. It's got an ARM A53 in it. Let's see what we got under advanced. Yeah, they keep going too fast on the screens where they're showing that. And I'm hoping that that's not just a mock-up for this video. I am hoping that, yeah, and look at this. So their QoS, now they've got, instead of you having to go in and configure a bunch of this stuff yourself for QoS, they're going to have this button that says prioritize gaming or prioritize video, or in auto mode. So I'm hoping that they stick a VoIP button on there at some point. Here is the intelligent detection. So this looks like safety protection, detecting route security, connection rate. So all these new things are coming that are not in the GWN, and maybe they're going to have convergence at some point, or maybe this is where we're going to start seeing different product lines. So it looks like home care now has parental controls, which is in beta built into it, and it looks like it's got some time. You can come in here for each different client, it looks like, and probably configure a different amount of time that people can be connected. And look at this, block internet for unmanaged devices. Once enabled, clients that do not belong to the parental control cannot access the internet. So I don't know I can't see it being an app. I can't see it being software. That would be a great departure from what they're doing now. So I don't necessarily see that being the thing. So here you're going to be able to see what everybody's doing. Now, of course, without TLS inspection, you can't get too far into the weeds on this, but if you're controlling DNS, you get a really, really good idea of what's going on. So, all right, we're going to go back to the comments real quick. So, Cecil, I hope that answered your question. I'm super excited about these new routers. Brian Murray, good morning. Yes, it has been a while. And Bob says that we have created a raccoon buffet, and it sure seems that way. Alonzo Smith, good morning. And there's so Alonzo and I have I would like to consider us friends as much as you can be friends with someone that you've never met in person. Alonzo has shipped me some gear, and before I agreed to do a video on it, we reached out to the manufacturer to see if their cloud control software, where it was based, and the manufacturer came back and said it's based on AWS in California. So we are going to do videos on that. And then Alonzo says Amcrest, and that is exactly the brand that I was thinking about. And we've recently purchased some of their higher end PTZs. I think they're about $700 a piece. And man, they've got good image quality. They've got great controls and AI and stuff built in. So, all right, Jason says, I have a Gen 1 48 500 watt and a 48 750 watt switch that still work great. Would you recommend I upgrade them or don't fix what ain't broke? Well, if you're not doing layer 3 or any of those other things that you need a new switch for, I'd say run your switches until the wheels fall off, right? Unless you have a need to upgrade those. If you want 2.5 gig ports or you need something that those switches don't provide, if they're working, you know, I know it's nice to get some of that new gear and figure out how it works and stuff, but it's totally up to you. But if it were me, I run things until they don't run anymore, or until it's not practical to run them because I can't get software updates or things like that. Nick says, I have spare hard drives, 4 10 terabyte drives. I was thinking of trying the Ubiquiti NAS to complement my Synology DS918 Plus setup, rather than upgrading or extending the Synology. What are your thoughts? Well, they are not going to directly integrate, but you could do things like back your Synology up to the UNAS, or you could back your UNAS up to the Synology. So I like the UNAS. I have it in my rack back there. And what I'm hoping is that Ubiquiti stays on point with this thing and that it doesn't become like a Synology product, because it works so well for sharing files and integrates so well into the Ubiquiti ecosystem. I would hate to see it get bloated and slow, and then people don't want to adopt it, and then it falls apart. I think they're on a great track, and I don't want to see it become a QNAP or a Synology or anything like that. I hope that they just build tighter integration into the Ubiquiti ecosystem with it. And I think they got a winner on their hands. Morning, Systech. Good morning, Zephael. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Mint is now unfortunately a subsidiary of T-Mobile. If my following, and I did think that I heard that, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Mint were they using T-Mobile or Sprint and US Cellular, which I think is now all the same company. And I know if you went with Google Fi, I believe Google Fi at one time was US Cellular and Sprint, I think. Somebody let me know down in the comments if that's right. Bob says, the right tool for the right job. How many people are thrilled with 500 megabit service when they've suffered with DSL? So I actually do consulting for my ISP, and I think we're on the list. They are rebuilding their fiber network here. And the way that the internet comes in, the internet that I'm streaming on right now, is it's fiber to the outside of the house, and then they have what they call an Aris mini node. And the Aris mini node actually converts the fiber over to coax, right? So I have a cable modem. I get gig down and 40 megabits up. So I'm supposed to get gig symmetrical. So we'll see when that's going to come down the road and get done. They're actually not too far. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4 houses down from us right now. So we'll see what happens. Nick says about $4 USD per gallon of fuel here in Australia. Nick, is that like the average, or is your fuel cost at like an all-time high? Bob says $5.25 USD roughly here in Vancouver. Yeah, things in Bob, I don't know. Do you pay by the gallon or the liter up there, Bob? I'm not trying to be a smartass. I really don't know. I'm assuming it's by the gallon, but and is that an all-time high for you guys up there in Vancouver? Alonzo says, my sister lives in Georgia, only DSL 1.4 meg down for $70 a month. Unfortunately, switch her to Starlink for now. Yeah, so if you're on Starlink now they've lowered their price for the 40 gig priority down to $65 a month, which is not bad. So we use Starlink wherever we need it, right? If we need internet quick and we need it in a remote location, we use it. It's fantastic. Hey, Joe's here. Yes, that is ever since Joe sent me this pin that says it's always DNS, that pin has not left this hat. I appreciate that, Joe. Cecil, yes, it did, Willie. Thanks. Why did you not attend the Grandstream partner meetup in Miami a few weeks ago? So, Cecil, I wanted to be in Miami. I had some things going. I couldn't get there. They are trying to get me to the event in September. So I'm working the logistics out with my wife on that. They should be announcing that one anytime soon. So we'll see how that works out. But I would have loved to have been there. I really need to get out and travel more. Morning, Michael. Jason says, I use Verizon, got a few dead spots, but not bad. Yeah, so I have a phone that's Verizon, and it works more places than the other carriers in this area. So James is down in St. Louis, and he says that Mint/T-Mobile works better down there than Verizon. So I can't really speak too much for that, but that's what James is telling me. Free BS, good morning. By the leader in Canada. Good morning, Jeremy. Sorry I'm late. I had Do Not Disturb enabled on my phone. That's okay. You missed the first live stream. This is the second live stream of the morning because the first one, for some reason, live chat didn't enable, so I had to go back and fix that. And it wasn't the kids thing, I don't think. It could have been. So whoever sent that to me, thanks. Let's see here. Oh, I got to get back to the live chat. Joe says, good thing they still ride horses to work in Canada. I would love to ride a horse to work. Bob says, we pay by the liters. No, it's been over $6 before. We were well over $2 a liter, which is roughly a quart, and the dollar is roughly 75 cents to a Canadian dollar. So I haven't kept up with exchange rates or anything like that. So I'm definitely getting an education on that. Nick says $4.90 USD per gallon is the high around here, or $1.90 for $1.90 Aussie per liter. All right. So let's check out this. If you've watched my videos from the last week, you know that I rebuilt the Ubiquiti lab. And so right now on Unify, I've got an AI Pro and I've got the AI key that's ready to go. So when I film this, we will adopt those. You can see that they're in their Protect VLAN from the last video. And then we're going to get with this ginormous camera. I'm really excited about it. I've seen some pictures where people have them flipped upside down on a table. So I'm probably going to do that. And then I might have to move my dry erase board and open the window so that we can test that zoom before we take it outside. Obviously, I can't use the IRs through a window. That'll cause some issues. But good stuff coming soon. More Grandstream content. Interestingly enough, Synology has a new flash station, which is it's a mini, like it's very tiny. I've asked them when that's going to be available because I would like to review that, get my hands on it. But they've also started their process of manufacturing switches. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. The current ones that are out are for surveillance station only, which is weird. They're going to need to bolster surveillance station for sure, because the way that Ubiquiti is going with this, Synology's in trouble. The thing that keeps Axis really going, if you've ever used an Axis camera, you just can't believe the picture quality of an Axis IP security camera. It's insane. Even these old ones that I have look way better than most other cameras. And you're talking about cameras that are 10, 15 years old. That, you know, and I can't remember, they explained it to us when we went to the Experience Center in Chicago, but I think Canon holds a stake in Axis, or I think that's the way that it goes. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this. But anyway, they take their profits and they reinvest it. So Axis actually has, if you go look, they actually do have some cameras where you can put actual Canon lenses on them. But the image quality from an Axis camera to anything else, it's night and day. But Ubiquiti has come a long, long way. Ubiquiti is threatening a lot of these longtime players who may have sat on their haunches too long. But I'll do a video of Axis versus Ubiquiti. As far as the cameras go, there are still some very unique differences, right? Like when I buy an Axis camera, I get a 5-year warranty with it. I get firmware updates at no charge. I get support at no charge, and their support is very, very knowledgeable. So there are still some differences in the ecosystems. I'll do a video on that after I get everything else done. And then I need to also go back through my old videos and be like, oh, hey, I said I was going to do a video on this, and then do it, right? The one that people are really hounding me about is the UISP. And the reason that I haven't finished that is because when I paused on it, we thought that Edge Router OS 3.0 was going to be released, and I didn't want to do a 2. Video and then 3 come out like right in the middle of filming. I think I'm just going to have to do a 2. Video and finish that series up and then see what happens. Jason says $2.79 up here in Wisconsin. Yes, yes, yes. Nick says we get cheap Chinese high quality cameras here in Australia, so it hurts sometimes to keep going with my Ubiquiti Protect cameras. But I'm in the Ubiquiti ecosystem at the moment, so we will not deploy Hikvision or any of the OEMs off of Hikvision, and we won't deploy Dahua anymore because they're not NDAA compliant. So for us being NDAA compliant, which essentially means that none of the components are manufactured by companies that the Chinese government owns a stake in, that's where we're at here, you know. Jason says, I run a Reolink system in VR and cameras. Yeah, I had a Reolink system. I thought it was decent. Traded a friend of mine for some maintenance work on a generator, and I think that they are happy. Bob has posted a link. So if you guys look at Bob's chat in the live chat, Axis is a Swedish manufacturer, and I knew that. Since 2015, it operates as an independent subsidiary of Canon. So and there are Axis cameras. Just go out to YouTube and do a search for some of these high-end Axis cameras. They have thermal cameras that are mounted in the mountains, and they can see down into villages at night and read license plates. I mean, the tech that Axis has it's mind-blowing. And you're going to pay for it, but you get a lot of other things that go along with that. Dave Robertson in the house. Good morning. Good to see you, Dave. We'll be talking this week. That's really all I had this morning. I was supposed to be fishing 2 hours and 15 minutes ago, but that didn't pan out. but I hear some other movement, so I got to check and see what's going on. So I appreciate all of you being here this morning. Look for new videos coming out. If you're not following me on Twitter or TikTok, you should be, because I do post some things that don't make it. I am trying to post more of the shorts on YouTube and things like that. But if you need to reach out and you don't have my email address, you can always go to the website and reach out. I'm sure that my email address, I dropped it here in the chat. You'll be able to put that together. And come over and join the community. So we're always picking up a little traction with that all the time. So I want to thank you all for being here on a Saturday morning. I know this was kind of a surprise. We kind of popped in here, so I appreciate everybody taking the time to come over, and keep your eyes out for the next video. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.